We dread that rejection or that questioning, or someone dismissing what we've said, or not believing us, or worse, accusing us of lying. I was so vulnerable. There was no one else around there to protect me. The ability for self-compassion, it really helps so much in the healing journey. It doesn't actually matter how many times they're told, but it wasn't your fault. You were 7 years old. How could it be your fault? If there's things that you don't want to have to say out loud, you don't have to, but you can still process it. You can still get better. Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten. I'm a sensory psychotherapist, and today I'd like to talk to you about how EMDR can help us with self-compassion. Before I jump into that, if you're enjoying these videos, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, because it really helps us get our information and message out there to loads more people. Many of us, not just trauma survivors, struggle with self-compassion. As we're growing up, it's so easy to gather guilt and shame and to feel responsibility for things that have happened. People will pile it on us. We can be blamed for things. Even if something happens and we're just kind of questioned, it can go in. We seem to be able to be massive vessels for guilt and shame. As I say, without any significant trauma there anyway, but a traumatic event, especially if we've been questioned or blamed, people that go through the court processes, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal for them. And so we kind of carry all these buckets and bags of shame and guilt with us as we go through life. Now, when we can't have any compassion for our traumatized, wounded, younger parts of us, then that can really create a real sense of unease and add massive amounts to that shame and guilt that we're already carrying. And I know for a lot of people that, if I'm asking them, if I'm talking to them about something that happened, they can be really derisory, derogatory about the younger self. They don't want to look at their younger selves. It's like, oh no, I don't want anything to do with that. Inner child work, oh. And that's understandable, but it's not helpful for those wounded younger parts of us. EMDR can be a brilliant tool for that. One, it takes the sting and the charge out of the traumatic event. And the way that the process works, and I've done another video about the kind of what to expect in an EMDR session, how it works through the different phases. Once we can process the absolute horror of the trauma and just how it absolutely hijacks the nervous system and leaves us unable to function, once we can take the charge out of that, the next stages that happen are when we're able to see from a different angle. We're not there looking out of our eyes, reliving this thing. We're actually able, the brain is brilliant, to have a different viewpoint, to see it from a different angle. It's often at that point that people get very emotional about things, that they can actually see themselves at that small, young age. And they're able to see, how little they are in comparison to the people who are causing the trauma, who are hurting, who are, making life so fearful. And, I've seen it time and time again. People go, oh my God, I was so young. I can really see myself. I was so vulnerable. There was no one else around there to protect me. It can be hugely empowering, to be able, for our younger wounded selves, of having that ability to validate, to observe, to see exactly what it was like, not the narrative that either we've been told or that we've come to believe through the demonizing of what happened to us, because we kind of throw all the feelings that we're left with, whether it's, terror, disgust, shame, physical unease, physical pain, emotional pain, and we tend to put it onto ourselves and not onto the perpetrator. And you know, people that are going into, let's just say, a talking therapy, or even just talking to friends and family, it doesn't actually matter how many times they're told, but it wasn't your fault. You were 7 years old. How could it be your fault? Because that's just a cognitive process. And what that person might say is, I get that, I do, definitely. You know, my adult logical part really gets that on a logical level, but it doesn't feel like that. I don't feel that. And it doesn't change, you know, and we can have a mantra with it, we can say it as many times as you like. It wasn't my fault. I wasn't responsible for being attacked. It doesn't go down into here, because this is almost a kind of sealed unit, if you like, because it's full of the actual lived experience. It feels different than the thing that the thoughts are telling us. And it takes something involving the body, once we've processed this, to really be able to get that sense of, oh my God, look how young I actually was for it to land. And in that, there's that, but there's also another missing piece. Often attacks, assaults, they happen when there's no protector around. There's no one to really observe and see exactly what was happening. Otherwise, you know, they'd probably step in and save the day. And so for our younger self to actually be observed, for someone to actually see it and get it, that can be huge. Because, you know, for a lot of people, there's multiple reasons why people keep quiet about things. Why children don't speak up, why, you know, it doesn't matter how old we are when things have happened. Our ability to actually speak up, we dread not being believed. We dread that rejection or that questioning, or, you know, someone dismissing what we've said, or not believing us, or worse, accusing us of lying. And so we keep it all in there. You know, we develop all kinds of narratives about it, coping mechanisms to keep it squished, to disconnect from it. EMDR really allows, because it's the brain and the body working together, to really be able to go into that. And, you know, for people in the process of EMDR, one of the beauties of it is it's private, that you don't have to say everything that you're seeing that's coming up. That's not an essential part of the process. So if there's things that you don't want to have to say out loud, you don't have to, but you can still process it, you can still get better. I've done EMDR with people many times, and I never knew the details of what happened to them. I didn't need to, and they didn't need to share that with me in order to get better, and they did. So it ticks an awful lot of boxes, and that ability to be really able to observe and see what it was really authentically like back then. It can just kind of flip things without having to do tons and tons of work. Just that realization can be huge. And the ability for self-compassion, it really helps so much in the healing journey. And I know it's a very difficult place for a lot of people to get to, because, you know, there's multiple ways that we have guilt shoveled on us. We feel it. It's very hard to kind of take it and put it to one side. We feel it. It has a huge impact on us. And if we're feeling guilt and shame about the thing that happened, well, that's going to make it feel almost impossible to say and to tell. And then with the, oh my God, what if I'm not believed? So when we can do that through an EMDR process, you're observing it, it processes it, you're able to see it for what it is, and have some real compassion and understanding of what happened to you when you were that, whatever the age is. So I hope that helps both anybody that's thinking about, you know, going in for some EMDR treatment, or that's sitting with some of these things that I've described, guilt, shame, complete lack of self-compassion. Then, you know, hopefully this might encourage you to know that there is something you can do about that. And EMDR, it's a tough process, but it's quick and it's really, really effective. So I hope that helps you make sense of things, both yourself and maybe for other people. And just a quick mention to our special, very highly esteemed guest, Percy, who has spent the whole time grooming himself, and now he's purring. Lovely. if you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!